Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Great. Well, good evening. Nice to see each of you. Yeah. So, I just learned today that this will be our last review session of Calm Abiding, at least for a while. So, I appreciate y'all being here, and I wanted to just check in and see how y'all might like to spend the time. Would you like to do a meditation together? Would you like to review some content? Would you like to have a discussion about any questions? Does anybody have a preference of anything? As usual, such an agreeable group of people.
Tricula, I just as soon do a meditation.
Okay. So that's one vote for meditation? Yeah.
Me too.
Okay. All right. So that's fantastic. We'll do that. So we will do this final meditation then together. And first, we can just take a moment to settle our minds and just kind of make sure that our mind and our body are here together in the same place. And so we'll spend the next 12 minutes or so together just trying to really focus our mind. And as Geshe Gelek has taught us, there's lots of ways we can do that. We can use our breath as the object. We can use a holy object or image as the object. We can use the conventional nature of mind as the object, or we can really use anything else. So the whole goal is to just choose that object and not waver from it. And when we do go off of it, which inevitably we will, just to bring our minds back and just keep bringing our minds back as many times as we need to for this next little bit. And if you're so motivated, Geshe has told us that starting with cultivating a bodhicitta motivation will be very helpful, and that will help improve our success. So we can rejoice that we have been following Geshe Gelek's advice in reviewing and spending time together working on calm abiding for these many weeks. And just enjoy our time together tonight, meditating with one another. Okay, so that's all the time we have. And so I wanted to thank everyone who has joined in these review sessions for all these weeks. And it's been a real pleasure studying and meditating with you all. And we can really just dedicate and rejoice that we've followed the advice of our teacher and really worked on learning this topic. And so thank you all so much. Geshe Gelek should be joining us shortly.
Actually, Geshe will not be joining us for another 30 minutes because we're starting a new process on Wednesday nights. Tequila, would you like to go ahead and just set a brief intention for this next 30 minutes and then?
Sure. Yeah, thanks. I forgot. Yeah. So like Donna said, we'll be reading from the text for a little while, and then Geshe will be joining us. So welcome everyone. Let's take just a moment and think about why we're joining class tonight, and think of all the many reasons, and then just make them as big as possible, including just as many beings as we can. And think how any effort that we put in here tonight, may it help us really purify everything that needs to be purified and build up our stores of merit and wisdom so that we can speed our way to enlightenment for the benefit of all beings.
Thank you, Tequila. So if you were here last week, you know that Geshe proposed a new format for doing our Lamrim class on Wednesdays, and we're going to start with that tonight. What we're going to do is we'll begin with just reading the text. Tequila and Lamala will share in reading it, and then we'll gather any questions that people have. And when Geshe comes at 7:30, we'll ask him the questions, and then he will teach from our questions. Tonight, we're going to stop at about a little bit early to get some feedback. And if we don't have solid feedback this week, we'll stop early again next week. We just want to get a sense of this, if this format works for people, or if we want to approach it in a different way. So, and we're just going to go back to day one and start fresh. And now I'm going to turn it over to Venerable Lamo. Thank you.
Essence of the vast and profound, day one. Oh, very well, as it is said in the teachings of the King of the Dharma of the Three Realms, Tsongkhapa the Great, titled Songs of Spiritual Experience. This body of leisure surpasses even a wish-fulfilling jewel. We will find a body like this one only once. Difficult to find and easily destroyed, like a flash of lightning in the sky. Contemplate this and you will come to realize that all worldly actions are like a husk of grain, and that day and night you must extract its essence. I, the yogi, practice in this way. You who seek liberation should do the same. Thus, we'll find only one time a human life of leisure and endowment such as this, which is difficult to obtain and, once obtained, has great meaning. Therefore, at this juncture, while we have managed to obtain it, we absolutely must extract whatever pure essence from it we can. Although we have taken countless rebirths as Brahma, Indra, and so forth, we have not had the opportunity to practice the Mahayana Dharma until just recently. From time to time, after taking rebirth as a hell being, hungry ghost, and so on, through the force of not obtaining a human form, not meeting the teachings, and not coming into contact with the guru, we did not have even the opportunity to experience the slightest benefit from the Dharma. Therefore, now that we have obtained such an excellent human form and have met the teachings and a guru, we must extract the unique essence provided at this time, which is complete with all the outer and inner favorable conditions to practice Dharma. Moreover, this human life of leisure and endowment that we have found at this moment is more valuable than even many hundreds of thousands of myriads of wish-fulfilling jewels. In dependence upon this life, we can also accomplish the physical forms of Brahma, Indra, a Chakravartin king, and so on. With this life, we can even manage to accomplish the causes for rebirth in a Buddha's pure land. Not only that, but in dependence upon this life, we can even attain liberation or the state of omniscience. If we waste this human form, it would be much more devastating than wasting even many hundreds of thousands of myriads of wish-fulfilling jewels. Yet squandering this human life of leisure and endowment does not cause even the least bit of regret. This fault stems from not considering the great value of this life of leisure and endowment and how difficult it is to obtain. At the moment, we don't investigate the situation with critical examination and instead assume that we will obtain a human life of leisure and endowment in our future life out of the kindness of the Guru and the three precious jewels, which is unimaginably foolish. This is similar to planting poisonous seeds in the spring and expecting an edible crop in the fall. In general, it is mandatory for someone who is content with merely obtaining a human life of higher status to protect at least one form of moral discipline, completely, purely as its cause. In the precious garland, Nagarjuna stated, enjoyments come from generosity, happiness from moral discipline. The vast enjoyments of those in the lower realms with great wealth, just such as Nagas and so forth, come from their previous acts of generosity, yet their rebirth in the lower realms stems from not safeguarding their moral discipline. Chandrakirti, 600 to 650, Guide to the Middle Way states, if the enjoyments of generosity arise in a lower rebirth, it is because of your defiled limbs of moral discipline. We are extremely fortunate to have obtained our precious human form, and if we don't take the opportunity to extract some essence from it, but instead squander it, it will be extremely rare to obtain such a human life again. The previous Kadampas would say that obtaining this life of leisure endowment is like rolling a copper boulder halfway up a mountain. We strive for the means of this life's happiness, such as amassing wealth, resources, and so on, which is not the meaning of extracting the essence of this life of leisure and endowment. Although we may have strength, power, and dominance, like a Chakravartin king, this is also not its essence. Query, well then, how do I extract its essence? Response, you must extract its essence by listening, contemplating, and meditating on the stages of the path to enlightenment. Once you train your mind in this, if you then develop the realizations of a being of small scope, you will have extracted its least essence. If you develop the realizations of a being of middle scope, you will have extracted its middling essence. If you develop the realizations of a being of great scope, you will have extracted its supreme essence. Moreover, since the day of our death is soon approaching, if we don't sincerely apply ourselves to the means of extracting its essence in this very moment, because this human body does not last long at all, we will lose our chance. Moreover, death is coming without warning. Presently, we will watch others die as though it is unrelated to us and will treat them as objects of our compassion. Yet our turn to die will definitely come. The time is definitely coming when our bodies will be folded in thirds and be bound by a rope. Our family members and companions will shed their tears, and everyone will eventually become revolted by our corpse. Moreover, there is absolutely no way whatsoever that this is not currently on its way to greet us. J. Milarepa, 1052 to 1135, stated, I quote, the phrase that terrifying things called a corpse will soon be used for the body of the yogi, unquote. The term corpse will soon be used to address our own bodies as well. This is the real situation of this body. With respect to the time of death, even if you are a great king governing 100,000 subjects, you cannot take even one servant with you. A beggar cannot even bring his walking staff and satchel. Although you may be a lama with 100,000 disciples, You cannot bring even one disciple with you. You must go on alone, like a hair being extracted from butter. The lineage of instruction of the previous holy beings also states, quote, a king must put aside his kingdom and depart. A beggar must set aside his staff and depart, unquote. If we could at least bring this body with us, it would uplift our minds a little, but even this must be set aside as we depart from our next life. The first Panchen Lama Je Losang Chögyön proclaimed, quote, our body that we have nurtured with care deceives in our time of need, unquote. At that time of death, nothing other than the holy Dharma will be benefit. Je Guntang Jampalyang Rinpoche stated in his advice for meditating on impermanence, quote, Dharma is the guide when you don't know your way on the path. Dharma is the provisions on the long path. Dharma is the captain guiding you along the difficult path. From this moment on, practice the Dharma with your 3 doors, unquote. But the time comes that we must set aside our cup and even our bodies. There is nothing whatsoever other than the holy Dharma that will be of any benefit. No matter how many skills we may possess, such as settling disputes or having great power and courage, they will not be of benefit at that time. Kadam Kamapa said, quote, right now we are fearless, that at the time of death we will dig our fingernails into our chest, unquote. In the 100,000 songs, Je Milarepa proclaimed, quote, repeatedly fearing only the time of my death, I trained in the essence of the primordial deathless mind and gained conviction in the clear light of emptiness. Now I have no fear of either birth or death, unquote. We should train in accordance with this. Currently, we aren't mindful of death, and we may wonder if at the time of death we will be able to apply skillful activities. Yet if we can't apply such skillful activities, the moment thunder crashes upon our head, there's absolutely no chance of applying them at the time of death. My guru, my refuge and protector, said, quote, if I don't die in a month or 2, I hope to accomplish the aims of my future life. If I don't die in a year or 2, I hope to accomplish my lasting aspirations for all lives, unquote. We should practice in accordance with this. Similar statements are also explained in the collective works of Ensapa, Losang Dontrop, 1505 to 1566. We are like an overconfident man pretending to be brave, who made plans claiming that his death wasn't coming, yet didn't make any plans whatsoever for the future life. From this point on, the longest we could hope to live is 15 years. We certainly won't be able to live more than 16 more years. Moreover, those years are quickly used up, just as the words of a sutra eventually reach their end, or the calculations of an accountant eventually reach their conclusion. Such is the situation with death and impermanence. This is similar to the way the teacher passed into nirvana once he reached the end of his numerous amazing deeds, such as the 12 and so forth, and fulfilled the purpose of those deeds. Yet after death, we don't come to an end like the death of a candle flame. Instead, we must take rebirth. Moreover, there are definitely only 2 migrations. The non-virtuous will be thrown into a bad rebirth, and the virtuous into a happy rebirth. Other than this, it is out of our control. Nagarjuna proclaimed in his precious garland, quote, all suffering comes from non-virtue, and likewise all suffering migrations. All happy migrations come from virtue, as does the happiness in all rebirths, unquote. Our simultaneously born gods and demons are motivated by our virtue and non-virtue, which they calculate using black and white pebbles that are measured on a scale. Once they determine whether we have been virtuous or non-virtuous, they follow us and take rebirth in either the happy migrations or the bad migrations. Furthermore, our transmigration is influenced at the time of death by whether our virtue or our non-virtue is more powerful, the degree of our familiarity, which was performed first, and so on. For that reason, it is rare for us to practice virtue, and when we do practice virtue, the majority of our time is not spent focusing on our spiritual practices. Instead, our mind is constantly distracted by commerce, farming, our sponsors, and so on. In contrast, we have great familiarity with extraordinarily powerful motivating factors such as attachment, anger, and so on. Eventually, we are even considering the way in which we are going to kill lice. We don't need to request a dice divination to determine whether we will have a good or bad place of rebirth in our next life. The Bhagavan Buddha already explained in the Precious Sutras that the ripened result of virtuous actions is happiness, whereas from non-virtue comes suffering. Therefore, since the vast majority of our daily actions involve engaging in negative karma and downfalls, we have no other option than taking a bad rebirth. Since we currently can't even bear the suffering of being poked with a stick of burning incense, there is absolutely no way we will be able to bear it if we are reborn in a place such as a hothouse where the entire foundation is composed of blazing iron and so forth. One day in the reviving hell is equal to 9 million human years. Thus, there is no way we would be able to bear even the slightest suffering of a hothouse. The only thing separating us from such lower realms is the fact that we can still draw breath. If your breathing were to cease, you would find yourself in your next life having just arrived in the lower realms. J. Guntang Jampelyang Rinpoche explained, quote, in the short slumber of an impermanent life comes the meaningless joy and anguish of a troubling dream. Yet what will you do when you suddenly awaken in the pit of the lower realms, unquote. Shantideva explained the situation when you are suddenly reborn in the lower realms when he proclaimed in his guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, quote, when you stare with a look of horror on your face, unquote. The means of not being reborn in a lower realm such as this is to go for refuge to the three jewels. The thought to train in the discipline of the 10 virtues is setting your motivation in conjunction with training the mind in the path common to a being of lesser capacity. Query, well then, is that much sufficient? Response, this is not sufficient because training in the moral discipline of abandoning the 10 non-virtues only temporarily frees us from the lower realms and merely accomplishes the attainment of a physical form in a happy rebirth, but does nothing to completely liberate us from samsara. Nagarjuna's letter to a friend states, quote, once you become Indra as a worldly object of veneration, to the force of karma you will fall once again, although you may become a Chakravartin king. You become a slave on the wheel of samsara, unquote. Occasionally you will experience the happiness of gods and men, but then die and transmigrate to rebirth in the Vichi hell and so forth. The great being of Ngari proclaimed, quote, although you may be born at the peak of existence, it is not different from taking rebirth in a copper pot of the lowest hell, unquote. No matter where you are reborn, whether as a god, human, demigod, or so on, that existence doesn't transcend being anything but suffering. Therefore, from this moment on, we need something capable of severing the continuity of rebirth with its contaminated appropriate aggregates and gaining liberation from samsara. Nagarjuna stated in his letter to a friend, quote, each being has drunk more milk than there is water in all 4 oceans, yet by emulating ordinary beings, samsara beings will drink even more still, unquote. Nagarjuna's letter spelling suffering states, quote, in hell, time and time again, unquote. According to these teachings, regardless of whether or not there is an end to samsara in general, we must work to bring an end to our own samsara. The previous Kadampas would say we need greater confidence than even someone working at becoming an arhat. Accordingly, at the moment, we perform only non-virtue, yet still act as though we don't have a care in the world, even though by remaining this way, we are going to have to experience the unending suffering of samsara. For that reason, if we wish not to have to experience suffering, They must be capable of severing the continuity of rebirth and samsara. Nagarjuna stated, quote, "If your hair should suddenly catch fire," unquote. Now it's, the time is ended, 7:20.
Okay, so we're gonna, we're just getting started with this format, but we wanted to get feedback from people. And please, let us know. You can either speak now or you can send me something in chat. If you're on YouTube, please use the chat or send me an email. And we just want to know, how this format feels. We're going to need to have some questions for Geshe when he arrives. And, whether you like it or don't like it, please speak up and let us know how this format feels. If you came in late, you might not have heard that we are going to, right now, how we're trying this class is we're going to begin with reading from the text, and then we'll, when Geshe arrives at 7:30, we'll have questions. So we need to gather our questions together and be ready for Geshe. So any feedback? Anybody?
I appreciate Lamala's reading, the pace, the clarity, the not skipping over dates even, because when I read, I tend to go skim, skim, skim. So I appreciate that, Lamala. Thank you.
I would agree with Julie. Even though we have a book that we're sharing and I read it, somehow it sinks in better hearing it read by Lamala. Or when she gets tired, it's okay if someone else does too. But hearing it read just helps it to sink in more. So I do appreciate hearing that. And I think that not everybody has the book. So I think that's really especially very helpful.
Okay.
I have feedback. I think that if we're going to get any comprehension of the material, right now it's really easy, especially because Geshe has already reviewed this text. If you go into any new, subject matter that may be a little bit more difficult to follow, I'd have to go much slower, I would think, and maybe pause for questions. If anyone had any, questions they want to submit or whatever, because I think it's a little bit, I think I may have gone too fast.
One thing I will mention is that we will be relying, very much on the students to participate, to provide questions for Geshe. It looks like maybe Helen, you have something to say?
I just want to make a note. Lamola's speed just right for me. I like that.
Okay. Okay, now, and if you're on YouTube, you can give feedback in the chat there.
I have a comment, Donna.
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's going to be more helpful when we're reading aloud chapters that I haven't already read. Right now, I actually enjoy, I have my book on my iPad, and I actually enjoy reading it. And I guess I can't really judge how valuable this is to me until we're reading something that I haven't already read a couple times. And if you're like me, I don't always get it the first time. Sometimes I'll read a page and realize I haven't paid any attention. And then I go back and reread the page. And so I'm kind of like at a place that if I'm going to come to class and we're going to read what I already read yesterday for 20 minutes before, or 30 minutes before Geshe comes on, I don't know how valuable that's going to be to me.
okay. Okay, so we'll kind of keep our finger on the pulse. And, you know, I will appreciate hearing from people. If you don't want to speak up tonight and you know, you'd rather send me an email, you know, please do so. I have received also just a couple of questions for Geshe to address when he comes, is if anybody has any more questions from the reading today. Again, we're going to need to be proactive with this format so that Geshe is relying on us to give him questions. So we need to be active students and not too passive, waiting to hear the teachings. Any other comments?
I think it's very helpful. I don't have the text. I have Lama Zokapa's Lamrim Chemo, but this is another text, the same, sort of the same. And Lamala reading is really great. And
All right.
that's my to say. And I missed are we still going to do like opening prayers and stuff?
Yes, we will always do that with Geshe here. We don't,
Okay.
we wait for
Okay.
him to come.
Thank
Okay.
Thank you for letting me come too.
Any other questions or comments? Questions, for Geshe?
Is it your preference, Donna, that we put our questions in the chat to you, or what's your preference?
You can send it in chat to me during class. Yeah, either send it in chat to me, or you can ask, you know, when there's a pause, you're certainly welcome to ask Geshe the question yourself. Outside of class, you can send me an email. I'm not checking email during class, but I am checking chat. So,
So for instance, for me, when Lamala is reading, I think it's maybe what Tom was talking about. Like, I've read that, but like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm hearing it differently. And so then I have a question about that thing. So then I should just put that question. And I can imagine that's going to happen even more, like Lamala said, when we're reading new material, that it's going to be like a question is going to emerge, even if you've read it privately yourself, as you listen to her. And so in that case, we should put it in the chat.
put it in the chat, or you know, I don't have to be the gatekeeper. You know, this is a class where I think anytime you want to ask a question directly of Geshe, that's really beneficial, because then then there's back and forth.
Okay.
So either way is fine with me.
Okay. All right. Thank
Like,
you.
I like when there's that back and forth. I think
Yeah.
but I also know some people would rather I ask for them. So I'm open to either one, but
Thank you for that clarification. That's great.
good. We got lots of questions now. And Geshe should be here any moment. Geshe Gelek is here.
Please have a seat. Oh, good evening, Romasi.
Good evening, Geshe.
Good evening, Julia. Good evening, Jill. Good evening, Helen. Good evening, Venerable Chukila. Good evening, Julie. Good evening, Ishi. Michael. Good evening, Venerable Hamula. Good evening, Mary. Good evening, Panditji, Pati. Good evening, Jennifer. Good evening, Bodhisattva Patrick. Good evening, Ryan. Good evening, Elise. Good evening, Olivia. Good evening, Romy Brand. Good evening, Susie. Good evening, Govina. Good evening, Suzette. And anybody watching on YouTube, good evening. So, Chagila,
Yes, Geshe.
you read?
Yes.
Everything understood?
Lamala read for us, and I think that there were several questions. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
Geshe, did you want to start with prayers? We did not do prayers yet.
Yeah, today just do 21 medicine Buddha mantra. So then please think of all the people in Nepal and India, whose life was now extremely devastated by this, like new form of virus. So a lot of people are now suffering. Yeah, as I request every class, after every class, so that I myself try to pray every single day. So then I think now all over the world people are praying. So, and I truly believe so that somehow all this positive energy being dedicated towards that cause probably will have, some will have impact. So we'll be trying to be a part of that prayers. So recite medicine Buddha mantra, maybe. So then after that, we'll start the class. Today, no prayers, medicine Buddha. So then, as I mentioned you before, like if you are familiar with the medicine Buddha practice, there's many different types of sadhana. So there's also the short one. So basically, you try to visualize all the medicine Buddha form of light, form of light. So then try to visualize, top of your crown. So if you are not able to visualize all of them, so then visualize the main one, dark blue. So then if you can visualize that, many as possible for each and every beings on their head, if you can visualize, then while we recite the mantra, so the nectar flows, then completely purify all the physical difficulties, mental difficulties, such as stress, anxiety, fear, uncertainty, depression, all kind of mental problems. So then visualize, please, to completely purify then they achieve, like they obtain healthy body, healthy mind. Okay, something like that. So I probably go to the sadhana.
Start with the verse of praise.
Yes, please.
I'll go on with equal compassion for all, whose name in merely heard dispels the suffering of the low realms, dispel of disease and the three poisons. I prostrate to medicine Buddha, lapis light. So we'll say 21 mantras. We'll say the first three and the last one out loud together. Yata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samugate Soha Teyata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samugate Soha Teyata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samugate Soha.
Yadam Bekazim Bekazim, Maham Bekazim Bekazim, Raja Samukate, Yadam Bekazim Bekazim, Maham Bekazim Bekazim, Raja.
Teyata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samugate Soha Gewadi Nududa Sangye Yugyune Jika Malupa Dei Sala Geshe.
Oh, yeah, Ramana, thank you. So,
Okay, Geshe, we have several questions from the reading today. We got most of the way through day one.
oh, yeah. Oh,
So one question is, excuse me, asking for, I'll just read. I don't understand the reference to, quote, are simultaneously born, oh, I can't see this. Are simultaneously born gods and demons once they determine whether they've been virtuous or non-virtuous. It sounds like a judgment from other beings. I assume this is just a way of talking about karma of positive and negative deeds. Is that correct?
which page? Now I have to look. I said I never read this text, so I have to probably look.
Page 21 in the English version, Geshe, top of page 21.
Geshe, it's after the quote from Nagarjuna's Precious Garland, all suffering comes from non-virtue. It's right after that.
It still that no matter which way we go, we are going to waste some time. So I need to find out. We all have good intention, but it looks like I try to save time. So probably I'm the one to try to save time. I'm going to waste time. Nagarjuna, good. You remember the page?
I don't have it in Tibetan, Geshe.
1 second now. Okay, I found. Luckily, somehow the positive karma happened. I found right away here. Oh, yeah. 대체 룰라서버 년조 저거 지문남 왜 집어다 주림 마수 주림 마수 되는 년조체스 다르지 때문에 거는 뒤때는. So I saw that Ratnawal is saying that the wealth is the result of practice generosity. Chugala, is that correct?
It's the Nagarjuna quote, Geshe, that says, all suffering comes from non-virtue.
Oh. Didn't go. Maybe not that one, so that's Nagarjuna quote.
I think it's later, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Okay, here. Tenchik chebe, hande ni chi le kana ki changa denchi dewa kana ni sang la shalne gidi kang cheba ti jesu changne dendro da ngiru nam tu chesa. Te ya gidi top chejun da ko. So what he says, of course, the Nagarjuna, Ratna, Vigal Dunga goes and Vigal Dunga. So, like, see, whenever the disturbing thought rise, and we may be aware or we may not be aware, and how much difficulties or suffering that we go through because of the presence of the disturbing thought, whether we are aware or not aware, because when we get very, very angry, yeah, so we are going through a lot of experiencing a lot of stress, so that at the momentarily that you experience that, and then so that kind of also like create the result. When you talk about karma, there's like verbal karma, physical karma, mental karma. Verbal karma related to the word, physical karma related to the physical movement. So mental karma related to thought. It's the thought, it's not dependent on thought. No, it's the thought. Make sense? Does it make sense? It's a thought. Mental karma is the thought. Either there's a positive thought, there's a positive karma. It's a disturbing negative thought, there's negative karma. A neutral thought, I just want to drink some cup of tea. That's just neutral karma. So karma basically boils down on the mindset. Without intention, without motivation, we don't do anything. We only do, because. So you thought, oh, I'm going to make tea. Oh, I want to drink tea. So then you move. So you have to have every actions, physical action, mental actions, created by thought. Make sense? Oh, so there's making a tea behind that physical actions. There's like thought or intentions. That's just neutral. It's not positive or it's not negative. So they see that you are creating physical actions, so you already created mental karma before you create, before you create physical or like verbal actions. So then every negative thought or positive thoughts are considered as karma lenam, positive karma, negative karma is very much depend on attitude, intention, motivations. What Lama Tsongkhapa said. Karma lenam, sabasana, if the mind is good, everything will be good, you know. If the mind is okay, so then the physical body is going to be okay. So then verbal action is going to be okay, the physical action is going to be okay. Karma lenam, sabasana, sadhanam, so therefore, everything is depending on the attitude or mindset. So whenever there's disturbance or rise, at that very moment, you do experience difficulties, you know, because there's everything will mess up, even the physical body, that your blood pressure goes up, you know, so all kinds of things. And sometimes there will be physical reactions that your body is shaking, that's like temporary. So then every actions, you know, second moment is tuned into karma. So when you think about the 12 link, second one is karma. It's not different than karma. The second out of 12 link, first is the motivations. The second is the karma itself. Then the third is the basis of karma, where that karma, you know, will be printed on that base. So then the base, you know, as we said, like if you really want to get in detail, so then it will be like primordial consciousness. So that, you know, continues. So that's why karma continues. Karma continues. If the negative karma, if you purify them, then it's like burning a seed. So when you burn the seed, so the ability to produce is gone. So same like if you purify the karma, then that's for gone, for good. It won't continue. Other than that, you know, the negative karma, positive karma, all continues. If that's the case, so then there will be result. You know, when you talk about the 6 realms, 3 higher realms, 3 lower realms, all the lower realms, you know, do causes by, everything causes by something. Everything has cause. Either you are like dog or human or demigod or you're the part of celestial being, you know, animals, within the animals, there's all kinds of animals, fish, you know, some animals they live underground, some animals they live on the ground. There are many things. Each and every one, every life has caused by something. So Hinji Jebel 100 years, Hinji Jebel 100 years. It's just like it's just example, they use the higher state of being. So there's like celestial beings. So the unfortunate one is called, how they say in English, simultaneous?
Simultaneously born gods and demons.
Yeah, so so there's, you know, that term, whatever we call the demon, is part of the lower realm, you know. So there are many, so that the ordinary eye cannot see them. That does not mean human being don't see. Some human do see, you know. So then it's based on a clairvoyance, level of clairvoyance. Sometimes you can see hungry ghosts, you can see smell eaters. There's many smell eaters, you know. It's all, many of them either demigod or lower realm. Either they fall into higher realm. Some of them a lot of them are demigod. Then a lot of them are, you know, also in like the three lower realms. Most likely animal realms. So like we don't see all the animals. So this is just example, taking one from the higher realm, taking one example from the lower realm. There's 2 of them. Just take an example. Lekana changa There's the result of positive karma, like celestial realm, there's the result of positive karma. Then the demo, that's the result of negative karma. Devu means like, then what you call like, then can you continue, Chugila, please?
Our simultaneously born gods and demons are motivated by our virtue and non-virtue, which they calculate using black and white pebbles that are measured
Okay.
on a scale.
Yeah, black and white pebbles, that's just there, like say, then yeah, the kanani dine.
Once they determine whether we have been virtuous or non-virtuous, they follow us and take rebirth in either the happy migrations or the bad migrations.
So there's like 2 pebbles. So people do practice. Each time when they create negative karma, they use black pebbles. They put 1. Maybe end of the day, they probably measure which one's more. You could use 2 cups. Each time when you think something negative, do something negative, you just pick 1 black pebble, put it in another cup. Each time when you do something physically, mentally, or something good, you pick up 1 white pebbles, then put it in another cup, and end of the day, you measure. If the white pebble is more, then you rejoice. Then you give your credit, you reward yourself and talk very nicely. Oh, you did a wonderful job. Maybe tomorrow, probably you can do it more. Maybe that's the way to liberate yourself from samsara. So then if you see the black pebble, more black pebble, less white pebble, so then you kind of like encourage, as I said, always compassion approach. The approaching either yourself, if yourself is like experience some difficulties, compassion approach. So when we see somebody else going through physical difficulty, mental difficulty, they may, oh, I didn't do a very good job today. That's also part of mental suffering. So how you approach, we approach with the compassion. It's okay, there'll be some another day you can do it better, so you can, whatever that went wrong, you can purify them. Always compassion approach. So if you see the bowl of black pebbles more, so then, then you rely on this, like you generate strong regret. That's out of 4 power. There's the one of the most important one, regret, strong regret. So then antidote, either you recite Mani mantra, Tara mantra, any mantra will purify. It doesn't have to be Vajrasattva mantra. Any mantra will purify. Any mantra will purify. It doesn't have to be especially level, oh, this is purification practice. Oh, you can recite Mani mantra, will purify too. Any mantra you can purify. Or you can just meditate on compassion, that will purify too. Or you can meditate on bodhicitta, that will purify too. Or you can meditate on emptiness, that will purify. Or you read Lamrim, that will purify. Or you go to if you live nearby Kadamba Center, you can go around the stupa, that purifies. There's many ways to purify, so that's important. I think it's very important to everybody, including myself. We all should learn how to lift up our spirit. Make sure that your spirit doesn't get sunk into make sure it doesn't get sunk. Make sure you don't get sunk with your negative actions. So that's not good. So then maybe that will probably cause depressions. So very important to purify. Just think about the glass that you just make, like I say, what do you call that? What do you call this? The healthy juice nowadays people make with all kind of green. What do you call?
Like superfood or?
Yeah, superfood. So when you use one glass in the superfood, that glass looks very messy. So it's not like drinking water. When you drink water, the glass, you can't really see the messy. That green thing when you drink one. So I'm not saying that I'm drinking one, but I saw people drinking one. So then when you drink that, the glass looks dirty, so you don't need to get sad. That glass is not inseparable with that green thing, that the green thing can be clean. So you just need to put some effort. You just need to wash, then it's just crystal clear. Same like life, same thing with life. Even though it feels like kind of dirty, you can purify. Then your body, life can be crystal clear like that. So in order to purify any mantra, any meditation, particularly meditating on compassion, purifies. If you make your actions actions like, say, aluminium, if you make it like ball, it will sink. If you put water, it will sink in the water. If you make it flat, it will not sink, it will flow. Same thing. Same weight. If you make it round, it will sink. If you make it very flat, it won't sink, it will flow. So each time is very important. I think it's very important. Of course, nobody will feel, even though they say, I feel great because I hit someone. But you just say, I don't think that anybody will feel deep down, feel good hitting someone or lying to someone. I don't think, but we say, but deep down, you don't feel good. Because why? Because fundamental human nature is goodness. It's goodness. So then of course you feel bad because maybe physically you did something wrong, mentally you did something wrong, or maybe verbally you did something wrong, you feel bad. So just that, if you feel bad, just that purifies. Believe me, just that purifies. If you rejoice, then it's not good. It's not good. Not good to rejoice that you did something wrong. It's not good. If you feel bad, when I say feel bad, means if you regret, that's the best way to say. If you regret, I should have done that. I should have done that. Just that thought purifies, believe it or not. So there's out of 4 powers. I think it's important to all of us to learn what are those 4 powers. One of them is called power of antidote. As I said, you can meditate on compassion, you can recite mantra, you can meditate on emptiness, you can meditate on bodhicitta, you can recite sutra, you can say mantra. These are all power of antidote. So then power of regret. So then sake of your own happiness. So then you make commitment, okay, from next second or next minute or next hour, I'm not going to do that because it hurts me. So I'm not going to repeat it, it hurts me. So you may say like, say your life is like full moon. It looks beautiful. It's the kind of shines. Sometimes it's under the very thick cloud. Under the thick cloud. The thick cloud is not going to change the nature of this moon. Full moon is very beautiful. So you may think, that moon will never get out of the cloud. Mistake. There's a big mistake. That moon will get out of cloud, or cloud will disappear, and moon, everybody will see the moon. It's only a matter of time. So that's how, if you learn how to purify, and your life is, in the sutra it says, your life is going to be this beautiful full moon out of cloud, this thick cloud in the clear sky. Or everybody talks, and it looks very beautiful, bright, like that. Then example they use, as I said, Angulimala, who killed 999 people. And there are many examples, If they can rise and shine, why not me? So that's what they do, they count, there's the method to count, basically to shape your life and count which one is more. The white pebble is more, so then you rejoice, you reward yourself. The black pebble is more, so then, kindly, very skillfully, kindly, you talk through and encouraged to purify. Oh. So that's why this white pebble and black pebbles form. Sang, so in Tibet, probably not some people know the sang. That what's called. Can you read Chukula one more time, please?
Once they determine whether we have been virtuous or non-virtuous, they follow us and take rebirth in either the happy migrations or the bad migrations.
No, before that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Our simultaneously born gods and demons are motivated by our virtue and non-virtue, which they calculate using black and white pebbles that are measured on a scale.
Then you sing a song like Shalni, a song like Sung, the sung, that's what I believe probably this here, sung means Tibetan coin. Maybe sometimes they use coin, Tibetan coin. So maybe the songs that kind of sound like Shalni. So that makes sense now. Did I answer? Did I clarify? Is that the question, Dhamasi? Huh?
Yes, Geshe.
Yeah, so there's more like clarification. So,
Okay.
and it's very, very important, including myself, all of us. Each time when we remember something that we did something wrong, please make sure you like skillfully and gently, kindly, like talk to yourself and tell yourself, no life is perfect in samsara. So you don't have to stuck with that negative deed. You can purify. If you really want to move on, you can purify. Otherwise, one of them, two of them, three of them, four of them, yeah, so you feel like overwhelmed. So when you see one glass, or thinking, oh, maybe I'm going to clean tomorrow, another glass, another dish, another that, and kind of piles up, then eventually the sink will be full. So then, of course, you feel overwhelmed, like, wow. It's not like that happened like one moment, it happened over time. So now the sink is full. So now it's like, we require more effort, more time. If you clean right away, then you are not going to see dirty dish in the sink in the first place. So there's nothing to worry about because there are no one time over time. That's like, like we kind of like, how you say in English, like we kind of like postpone, kind of delay. You kind of like stall. Need to purify right away. So, purification practice, you do think about what went wrong. And what's the difference? If you don't purify, you still think what went wrong. Yeah, of course you do think what went wrong. When you start to purify and you intentionally think what went wrong, what's the difference? Difference is at the end. Instead of feeling bad, you feel better. That's the difference between purifying and not purifying, thinking something wrong out of negative mindset and doing nothing. So that's not good. So that leads to the depression. Thinking what went wrong out of positive mindset and want to purify. So then when you purify, strong regret, some form of meditation or recitations. So then instead of feeling bad, in the end, you feel better because you felt like you did something. I say you make up for that. How you say in English? You make up. Huh? You make up for it.
Make amends, make up for it, yes.
You make up.
Make amends or make up for it.
Yeah, make amends.
Amends. Make amends.
Make
Make up
amends.
for it is fine, Geshe.
So make amends. So how you spell men? M-A-N?
A-M-E-N-D-S. Make amends.
Sorry, maybe I'll learn next life. This life is not too old to learn new word. And that word has a lot of that sentence has a lot of words, so I don't think. So, but you understand what I say. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's important, like. They're also saying in Tibetan, if you don't make yourself happy, other people make your life miserable. You remember that? I said that many times. You have to, and I remember there's two small cartoons, it looks like bugs. Bugs, somebody drew two cartoons. And one cartoon and the chest is written happiness. So other cartoon that says where you find means this happiness. That other cartoon on the chest has happiness, and other cartoon is asking where you find. The little one says, I created myself. I created myself. So that's that's good message. You could create, as I said. I think please think how we get happiness. How? We have 6 senses, no 8 or 9. We have 6 senses. When you talk about consciousness, then of course there's 8 different types of consciousness. So number 7 and number 8 is like not. It's functioning day to day life, but it's not functioning as like 6 senses. 6 senses. 6 senses are very active. The last 2 consciousnesses is not. I'm not that active as the 6 senses. So see how we get good feeling. That sometimes you feel good. Where we get that? Through eye consciousness. How? Seeing shape and color. Ear consciousness, hearing something wonderful. Nose consciousness, smelling something good. Tongue consciousness, tasting something good. Body consciousness, touching something smooth. No need explanation. We all know that. How come if there's amount of pleasure, joy, happiness we get from the 5 senses, why not through the 6 senses? Of course, you can get pleasure or happiness, joy through the 6 senses. How? Not just seeing something, no. 6 consciousness, thinking. Or you could get a lot of joy. Practicing, doing the purification practice, the joy they generate is related to the 6 consciousness. It's not related to the I, it's related to 6 consciousness. So you can generate that anyway. It's not dependent on the external object. You can do. So that's it. What else? So I think it's important for all of us that we don't have to get stuck with our actions. We can purify them. Like glass, we can clean them. Don't feel bad seeing dirty glass in the sink. Don't feel bad. You can clean them. Why you feel bad? You can clean them. If you clean right away, if you put there 1, 2, 3, 4, eventually the sink will be full. So you can clean like that, okay? So it's important to feel good. So then what is the next?
Okay, Geshe, there's another question. In the text on page 16, just before a short quote from Nagarjuna, it says, in general, it is mandatory for someone who is content with merely obtaining a human life of higher status to protect at least one form of moral discipline completely purely as its cause. And the question is, do we need only one form of moral discipline to obtain a precious human rebirth? Don't we need to keep all morality pure?
After this?
No, it's earlier, Geshe. I think it's where you were before, because it's the other quote from Nagarjuna in Ratnavali that says enjoyments come from generosity, happiness for moral discipline.
Okay.
It was just before that, just before.
지금은 들리제 잠보시 토벌로 주츠림 남다 나르니 바숭고 봐. 바숭. So when we talk about morality here, so all the Patimoksha vows and lifelong lay vows, these are all part of the moralities that have been explained, Buddha explained in the Vinayaka Sutra, which has around 600 or 700 page traditional book, like long back and forth. In the sutra, Buddha explains this 8 types of 8, sometimes they count 8, sometimes they count 7. So types of Patimoksha vows. So then there's one moralities, and Bodhisattva vows, another moralities. Then like Tantra vows, there's another moralities. So then very basic 10 non-virtuous actions. This is a very basic morality. All the other like vows is built basis on that. So now what it means like just one pure morality. Morality that has related to the physical body, 3. Morality that related to the verbal, 4. The morality that related to the six mental consciousness, 3. These are 10 non-virtuous actions. You can call it morality. You can call them morality is technically correct. These are very basic morality. So, so you can probably practice them individually, purely, probably create the cause. I don't believe that in order to become human, you have to practice all the Patimoksha vows, all the Bodhisattva vows, all the Tantric vows. That's very difficult. So that's what it means, just one. Probably it used to be relatively easier 2,500 years ago when Shakyamuni Buddha was in India. At that time, it's easier because a lot of people are kind of like, how you say, there is a lot of enthusiasm for liberations. Everybody's talking about everywhere, talking about liberations, talking about, like, not much people are talking about like competing business or building something, or there's much less distractions. You could say the world is not very much developed. At the same time, inner world is very much developed. Outer world is not that much developed. So now 21st century, external world is very much developed, but internal world is not, it's not going up, it's going down. Sorry to say. It's going down, like based on the computation, based on power, based on like war, based on like territories, based on race, based on culture, based on religions. It's not going up. It's kind of like it's not the best time. It's not the best time. So during Shakyamuni Buddha's lifetime, is that also said in the sutra? During that time, if you have practiced all the 10 virtues did. Now, if you practice one of them, equal benefit. Why? Now it's much more difficult. Now it's much more difficult. And some of them probably feel like become part of your culture that you have to lie. If you know this much, you can probably say, oh, I know this much. Even though you don't know this much, you only know this much. So society kind of push you to brag about yourself, so there's many things. So now practicing even one non-virtuous, this is benefits equal of practicing all of them, 10 of them purely, same amount of merit. Who said? Shakyamuni Buddha said. Where in the sutra? Vinayaka Sutra. So I'm not just making this up to make you feel good. So because now time-wise, now is very difficult time. So no matter which direction you turn, there's not much good news. Here people are fighting for this, fighting for that, fighting for here. It seems like it's never ending, things never ending. So if somebody do something good, then somebody like accuse that person doing something good. If somebody doing nothing good, then again accuse. No matter what you do, people always have something to say. Not something good thing to say, something negative thing to say. No matter which direction you turn on the TV, not much good news. Read newspaper. Even though there are people who are doing good things, you don't see them because people, I don't know, unfortunately, people are not interested to read. People are doing good things. They are more interested somebody doing something bad, so people kind of avoid them more. So that's what it means now. Now, one pure, practicing purely, one ethic restraining for the sake of your happiness. It's nothing to do with religion. Sake of your own happiness, happiness of this life and happiness of many more life, you deliberately, voluntarily restrain lying. So then it comes down on the point that you will not lie, even though you need to sacrifice your life. You choose to sacrifice your life, you are not going to lie. It comes down to that point, So you are very serious about not lying. You are very serious in your mind, even though it costs your life. You say, no matter any kind of so I'm going to protect this morality like my eye, like that, so that you practice that means you are very serious about this practice of morality. You are very serious. Say of your own happiness in this life, say in the next life. So you practice. Nobody push. It's not like, oh, you feel guilty because you consider as a Buddhist you have to do this. No, we don't have to do anything. If you don't care about yourself, you don't need to do anything. You can just do whatever you want to do. So then whatever result that may bring, you have to experience there. You can do whatever you want to do, then you're hoping that somebody else will pay off. So that's that's ignorance. Sake of your own happiness, your own happiness. So that's what I mean, what it means, one pure ethics, refers it. Out of 10 non-virtues, just one. Oh, not going to kill, just that. And with knowledge, not like, blind faith, with reason. Didn't that make sense?
Yes, Geshe.
What else?
Okay.
It looks like I say, whenever Chukila, what do you think? This way is, I think, good way. What do you think, Ramasi? You read some, so then I come out, 30 minutes later, then we discuss. I think that's good. So then you you read this text, entire text. There's something to feel. Next time, somebody, did you read? Oh, yeah, I read this text. Otherwise, I will teach you like goat eating grass. Touch here a little bit, flip 4 page, then say something, then flip 4 page. You can't really tell I read the text, you didn't really read. Okay.
So we have about 4 minutes left, Geshe. Another question is, how do you sever the continuity of rebirth? How do you cut off the continuity of rebirth?
Oh, sever means cut off?
Yes.
Again, sorry, maybe next life I'll learn that word. Need to go back to Four Noble Truth. Expansion of that is 12 link. Need to go back to that. Why this cycle? Why this cycle? Or how to stop the cycle? You need to begin with the ignorance, first one. meditation on shunyata, emptiness, is the way to cut or to cut rebirth. Here we are talking about rebirth, the force of karma and delusions. We are not just talking about any kind of rebirth. You can come back out of prayers or out of your wish, positive wish. You can come back. Now we are coming back out of karma and delusions. So that's why Four Noble Truth, expansion of that Four Noble Truth is 12 link, that's called Wheel of Life. So when you look at the painting, the first one, someone has arrow in their eye. That means when you have arrow in eye, you can see. You can see the reality. You can see the reality. So what is here reality? Or reality refers to ultimate truth, true truth, Four Noble Truth, true truth, conventional truth, ultimate truth. Ultimate truth refers to shunyata. Everything else is the manifestation of shunyata, emptiness. Right now we have a lot of difficulties. When you meditate on emptiness, you kind of lose the conventional part of reality. When you focus on the conventional part of reality, then you kind of lose the ultimate part of reality. So till minute you think about conventional reality or ultimate reality is crystal clear. When you think about ultimate reality, conventional reality is crystal clear. So then that's how you cut the root or cease or cut up rebirth. So there'll be no more rebirth. Means when you experience shunyata directly, there'll be no rebirth. Even just wondering, what is shunyata? What is this true truth, conventional truth, ultimate truth? What is that? Just wondering. Sonam Chungi Chedila, I think that already there was 400 stanza of Madhyaminga text, 400 stanza composed by Arya Deva, one of the Indian masters. In that text, Sonam Chungi Chedila, if you just wonder, the pieces, your samsara is like throwing a piece of glass on the floor, it's kind of shatters. Your samsara is going to be shattered if you just wonder, what is this true things that Buddhist philosophy highly talks about. You just wonder, what are those true truths? Just wondering. Then can you imagine having an interest to experience? Then reading about it and thinking about trying to figure it out, trying to understand, educate yourself. Can you imagine what that does for the samsara? What is samsara? It's not a place. It's the cycle. It's like this wheel of life. That's samsara. It's not like some place sometimes not a place. It's the cycle. Cycle that goes around. That is samsara. So that cycle will be shattered if you just wonder. On top of that, if you show interest and read and meditate and trying to educate yourself, trying very hard to help yourself to understand what it really means, what is conventional truth, what is true truth, why we lose, like when we focus on the conventional reality, why we lose ultimate reality, why was that, all of that your rebirth, your not just rebirth, your whole samsara will be shattered. Okay, so that's the way to the Brahmas use fancy word as a cutoff. So that's how you stop. Stop. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy that you read. How many pages, Chukila, you read?
We read 9 pages.
That's good. Out of 9 pages, there are 4 questions. That's very good. So now you read 9 pages, every word there. So that's good. Probably your way of doing is much better than my way of doing. Oh, so now next Wednesday, if you enjoy that, so continue to read 9 more pages. So then I come back 7:30. So then we hope that this looks more as more promising to finish the text. If I teach, probably it doesn't look very promising to finish the text. It will go on and on until maybe 2025. So, okay. So I think, what do you think? You think it's good to read? You know, so somebody read, you listen. That's also reading. You know, you are not necessarily reading, but somebody's reading, you're listening. That's one way to read. So that's exactly how we study all this text in the month. We should make sure that we, you know, read. Okay, so I'm very happy about tonight's class. I'm not sure about you. So if you like that, just continues. Okay.
We'll continue.
So that finished question.
We have more questions, but we finished time.
Okay. Oh, very good. So that's very good, wonderful. So then I'm also happy that, you know, I get opportunity to explain certain section of the books that it may be not clear to you. So then, you know, I can explain, because I did study almost like more than 2 decades in the monastery. So, and I yeah, so I am capable to explain those texts. Okay. Well, thank you so very much for coming here. So then all of you have a wonderful night. So then please pray for all the people in India and Nepal. So I'm doing every day, so you do the same thing. Okay. Oh yeah. So have a wonderful night. So then Venerable Hamula will say dedications. So please join your heart.
Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, I too dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praises the best by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so I might perform good works. I dedicate whatever virtues I have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of perfect pure Losamdrapa to shine forever. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good, all powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends. The one who mastered his speech at a very young age, the one whose great patience, who received the name Avatare, the one whose great precision, who spread the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa on bliss and void, Lama ornament of the yellow hat tradition, please remain until samsara ends. You uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the 3 jewels, savior of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. Avalokiteshvara, a great treasure of non-objectifying compassion, Manjushri, master of stainless wisdom, Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snow, Losamdrapa, at your feet I make requests. Om Tare Tu Re Soha, 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 Om tare tu re so ha.
Oh yeah. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night, Geshe. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Geshe.
Good night, Geshe. Thank you
See
so
you
much.
next Wednesday. But no guarantee.
Good
Okay.
night. Thank you.
Our willing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ursula. Good night.
Oh yeah. Good night.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.